Like absolute chaos. If you look at my thoughts, it's going to be absolute chaos. I just think, I don't see him coming in with a different game plan, but, and me neither. I'm going out there to attack. I'm going there to kill him. I'm not going out there to defend Khamzat's takedowns. I'm not going out there to defend. I'm going there to attack.
Dricus Du Plessis is officially back in grind mode for his showdown with Khamzat Chimaev. The South African powerhouse has kicked off training camp, and from the looks of it, he's wasting no time sharpening every weapon in his arsenal. Each session is intense, sweaty, and built to make him even more dangerous on fight night.
They'll tell you you're not ready, not strong enough, not fast enough, and you'll believe it. Until you don't. Because strength isn't built in the ring. It's built in every morning you get up before the sun. Every round, every bruise, every just one more. It's how far you'll go when your body's screaming.
Sparring is where Dricus is letting his hands fly. He's moving in and out, testing combinations, and adjusting his angles to find those openings that can end a fight in seconds. Each round brings in a fresh partner, forcing him to adapt to different speeds, styles, and pressure. It's all about fine-tuning the timing and building the confidence to pull the trigger when it matters most. On the grappling mats, it's a whole different battle. Dricus is working through takedowns, scrambles, and submission attempts, drilling each move until it's second nature. He's fighting his way out of tough holds and turning bad positions into opportunities. It's gritty, sweaty work, but it sharpens the instincts that can make the difference in a high-stakes fight. There's the brutal rod walk. Dricus loads a long metal rod with heavy plates on each end, hoists it onto his shoulders, and walks it across the gym. Sounds simple, but every step is a fight against gravity. His legs are burning, his shoulders are screaming, and his core is locked in tight to keep the weight steady. It's the kind of grind that builds raw strength and mental toughness, the exact kind of fuel he'll need when the cage door closes. All that intense work in camp has him carrying a quiet confidence into fight night. He's not looking at this as a contest that drags on for 5 rounds. In his mind, there's no reason to even think about the judges because the ending will come long before they're needed. When he talks about power, there's a certain edge in his voice. He believes Khamzat hasn't truly experienced what it feels like to be hit or pushed by someone with his kind of strength. That's something he feels you can't really explain. It's something you have to experience in the moment, when the fight is already underway. He's seen it before with every opponent he's faced. There's a shift in their expression when they realize the fight is different from what they expected. It's not panic, but a kind of sudden awareness that they've stepped into something heavier, faster, and harder than what they prepared for.
With Khamzat, you think you're strong, you think you're powerful, you have not felt anything. And I can't wait till I see it on his face, because I see it on every single person I fight's face when they realize, oh shit, that's.
When this fight goes down, he expects absolute chaos. He's not planning on coming in with a cautious game plan or trying to defend takedowns. Instead, his mindset is clear. He's going out there to attack, to take control, and to finish the fight. He points to fighters like Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman as examples. Both didn't just sit back and defend. They brought relentless offense and forced their opponents to constantly respond. That kind of pressure, he says, is what wins fights. Defense alone won't do it.
Look a little bit different. I mean, if you look at the Gilbert Burns fight and the success he had with Khamzat, that's a very, very good. Even with the Usman fight, Usman was, well, people don't just go and defend against him. He was forced. Usman was forced to defend, and he did a great job. And then he started with his offensive wrestling and showing Khamzat that he's not the only one that can wrestle in there. And I think that was a big key in that fight, which made it a very close fight. And then Gilbert Burns being an absolute animal, also not being scared of Khamzat wrestling and, going for it, attacking. This game doesn't work by defense. You don't win.
What some might be missing is just how dangerous his grappling can be. Many haven't seen the full picture yet. He remembers how easily he got back up after a takedown from Robert Whittaker and then dominated on the ground, landing heavy elbows and threatening submissions. If the round hadn't ended, he believes that moment could have ended the fight.
Do you think people are underestimating your grappling?
Absolutely. I think I just don't think people have seen a lot of it. So it changes the game. I think if Khamzat mentioned it, he said Robert Whittaker took me down. He did. He got a good time takedown. I got up very easily. When Rob took me down, I got up with no problems. Took him down, and I dominated him on the floor in a way where I was landing. I cut him. I was landing massive elbows. The threat of the choke was there the whole time, and the round ended, and I'm sure if that round didn't.
At the end of the day, he insists he's a complete MMA fighter. He can strike, grapple, and wrestle with anyone. But what sets him apart is how he puts it all together. That's why he feels he's the best in the world, and why Khamzat should be prepared for a fight that goes far beyond what he's seen so far.
At that stage, it would have been the end of the fight right there. But yeah, I mean, I guess people haven't seen too much of my grappling and wrestling that much. But at the end of the day, I'm a complete MMA fighter, and that's why I'm the best in the world. I can strike with it.
After hearing Dricus talk about what he's planning for Khamzat, it makes sense that other fighters are starting to picture how this might go. Everyone has their own take, but Dricus Du Plessis sees a pretty clear pattern in how the fight could unfold. For him, the clock is a big factor. If the fight stretches past those first 2 rounds, he believes Dricus will start taking control. That's the point where his steady pressure, size, and ability to keep a hard pace could begin wearing on Khamzat, forcing him into deeper waters than he's been in for a while. But he's quick to point out that the early rounds are where Khamzat is the most dangerous. Those first few minutes come with a burst of speed, aggression, and power that can overwhelm anyone if they're not ready for it. One clean shot or a quick transition could end the night before it even feels like it started.
Hi, bro. He's good,
I think if it goes past 2 rounds, I think DDP is going to win. But, anything, 1 to 2 rounds, Khamzat.
What do you think's more likely?
I can see
Davy Grant shares a similar view on how the fight tips depending on when it ends. For him, if Khamzat can't get it done in the first 2 rounds, the advantage swings heavily toward Dricus. That's when Grant thinks the South African's persistence starts to take over, chipping away at his opponent until the momentum is all his. What stands out to Grant is how Dricus keeps proving people wrong. He admits that watching him can feel strange at first. The style is unorthodox. The movements look like they shouldn't work, yet somehow they do. Over and over again. He's also heard from others just how big Dricus is now for the division. That size, combined with the awkward style and relentless approach, makes him a tough puzzle to solve once the fight starts to stretch out.
DDP winning.
I think it's obviously if Khamzat doesn't beat him in the first 2 rounds, then it's got to go to Dricus, I think.
Yeah. Well, what do you think's more likely?
For DDP, you know, he just keeps proving. It's weird because you watch him and like no disrespect to him, but it's like he's got a strange style, you know. But it's sort of like it looks as if it shouldn't, but it does, you know. Like he's yeah. And I've heard I can't remember if I've ever seen him in person.
After hearing fighters break it down based on style and timing, Rainier de Redder adds a perspective shaped by having trained with both men. From his experience, the edge leans toward Dricus. He doesn't picture Khamzat getting the early finish. And if the fight moves into the later rounds, he sees Dricus steadily building and pulling ahead on the scorecards.
Experience I have with training with both the guys, I just don't see Khamzat finishing him early. And I see Dricus building in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I see him edging it out, but we'll see. Hopefully it never happens and I can jump in.
What makes Dricus so tricky in his eyes is how unusual everything about his game is. The movement, the way he picks his angles, and that gas tank that just keeps going. It's an awkward mix that's hard to read and even harder to prepare for. Still, de Ridder believes there's a specific approach that could work. He talks about catching Dricus in those moments when he shells up, then turning it into more than just striking. Driving him to the cage, wrestling, and working in the clinch might be the best way to disrupt his rhythm.
Do you reckon Dricus? What do you think is the key to beating DDP? Because he's just one of those guys. Yeah.
It's a crazy puzzle to solve, because it's so, the way he moves, everything he does is so weird. The gas tank is crazy. The angles he comes with is very weird. But what we haven't seen people do to him is mixing strikes and takedowns. They all strike and then he shells up, moves back. They stop striking and then he gets another go. But I think what would be important in a Dricus fight is hit him with a couple shots, make him shell up like he likes to do, and then push him against the cage, wrestle with him.
Right after Rainier's take, Din Thomas steps in with a prediction that leaves no room for doubt. He truly believes Dricus Du Plessis will come out on top against Khamzat Chimaev. For Din, this isn't a close call. He sees a clear way for Dricus to win. Din thinks a lot of people don't fully appreciate how smart and tough Dricus really is. He knows fights can change in a heartbeat once Khamzat's early energy fades. He views Khamzat as a fighter built for short, explosive bursts, someone who thrives when he can finish fast. But this fight isn't just a quick sprint, it's a full 5 rounds for the title. Din doesn't believe Khamzat can keep up that intense style without burning out, like a sprinter trying to swim in deep water. And Dricus is the one who can drag him into that kind of fight.
You think Dricus beats Khamzat?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do. I really do. I think Khamzat is a sprinter. I think if you were to make fights 1 5-minute round, Khamzat beats anybody in the world, any weight class. But you can't fight championship level fights for 5 rounds at the pace where he's at his best.
Once the fight moves into the later rounds, Din imagines Khamzat not only running low on energy, but also starting to question himself. He pictures a moment where Khamzat realizes Dricus isn't backing down, still standing, still pushing, still coming forward. That's when the fight flips, and Khamzat goes from controlling things to just trying to survive while Dricus keeps applying pressure. What makes Din's prediction stand out is how he breaks down pacing and cardio. He talks about fighters with complete skill sets, not tiring in the same way. They don't fight against the pace, they control it. That's where Dricus holds the advantage, knowing how to stay dangerous while staying patient. This fight is shaping up to be one of the most intense matchups in recent memory. Both fighters bring very different strengths and mindsets to the cage, making it hard to predict exactly how it will go down. One thing is clear though, neither fighter plans to hold anything back. The pressure is on, the stakes are incredibly high, and every moment will count. Fans and experts alike are already debating who will come out on top. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think will happen when Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev finally face each other? Let us know in the comments below.